So, a few days ago, I talked about George Floyd and my thoughts on one human being taking another human being's life. I even talked about ramifications from this. At that point, there had been rioting in Minneapolis and maybe a few other cities, but not nearly as large or as rampant as it is now. So, in addition to all those things that I've already said that officer did and caused, such as putting back race relations, community relations, also putting yet another target on every other officer's back, we now have rioting in almost every city, um, even small cities. Some tiny cities. Where I live in Pittsburgh, the other day there was what started out to be a peaceful protest. No issues, just a peaceful protest. Then a police cruiser was lit on fire. Not by the people in the peaceful protest, but by a 20-year-old Caucasian male. 20-year-old Caucasian male. Not someone of brown skin. A 20-year-old white guy started this fire. Took the peaceful protest and gave it literally enough spark to take all the aggression, anger, the months of frustration we've all had being basically locked up at home, not being able to do the things we normally do, and set fire to a police cruiser. Someone not even old enough to drink took a peaceful protest and literally sparked enough anger to turn the entire protest violent. When city mounted police came out, demonstrators of what had been a peaceful protest started throwing stones, cups, whatever, not only at the officers, but also the horses. They'd also, some of them jabbed the horses with sticks. It's terrible to throw stuff and try to hurt an officer doing their best to do their job, not hurting anyone, simply making a visible presence. That's normally the job of mounted police, so they can easily be seen. It's usually fairly effective. It also normally is something that's nice to see. A lot of the times when we see mounted police, they're in parades or at fairs or city events, and they are there to be seen. But if you were like me as a child, I really enjoyed seeing the horses. So people decide to throw things and poke horses that are simply animals. They truly have no political agenda, no other agenda. The horses have hurt nobody. Most of the police on the mounted police have hurt nobody. So I do not understand what one is going to achieve by poking the horses and throwing things at them. I also don't understand the violence in the rioting. I understand being upset, being angry, wanting to destroy things. Many people feel that way about things. There are days I wake up and I'm on edge to begin with, and someone can say good morning or hello, and I may want to cause them harm. But that is not going to accomplish anything in the long run. So, my question is, or maybe question and comment, what is this rioting going to achieve? What does burning down businesses, looting businesses, burning cars, flipping cars over, what does this achieve? I do not understand what they're trying to do by this. Take out anger and frustration. Yes, I understand that. And there are ways to take out anger and frustration that don't involve destruction, especially destruction of private property, a small business. Big corporations probably will not be as affected by this, as they are corporations, some worth, most worth probably billions of dollars. But many small business owners have just enough insurance, have bare minimals, whatever they need to keep their business open. Also, many of these small businesses have just finally been able to reopen to some degree due to the pandemic. So, how does destroying small businesses and corporate businesses help to move us forward? How does it help anyone move forward? It simply helps to set back relations between, racial and also police and civil relations. It has caused Many people who may have finally been able to return to work to now be out of work. Many people will not be going back to work. Many already aren't. Even more will not now because the place where they worked has been destroyed by some means. They will have no job to go back to. Some corporate some corporations will reopen stores no matter what happens to them. But they won't reopen every store. So with rioting, it's that community that's ultimately affected and hurt the worst. To be fair, from things I've read and the little bit of research that I've done, which probably is not enough, I have also seen and realized that many responsible for these riots or taking a peaceful protest and making it become violent, many are not locals of that area. Many of them are people who are looking to cause chaos, destruction. Some just like anarchy, some of them like chaos and destruction. And they are traveling from their neighborhoods, their areas, to another area. Notice they aren't willing to take the chance doing this in their own homes, their own neighborhoods. But they know that with tensions being as they are, not just from the George Floyd incident, but also from the pandemic, they know, they realize how easy it is to get people riled up, to take something that is peaceful and turn it violent, possibly deadly violent. If no if we found no deaths, sadly, I'm sure there will be some from these riots. Much like the officer who gave no forethought, didn't consider the future. Many of these rioters are doing the exact same thing as that officer. They aren't thinking about the future at all. They want instant justice, and they've perverted the term justice. Justice is not going and destroying and looting, rioting, possibly killing. That is not justice. That at best is revenge. Justice doesn't come as quick as we like. We have to be patient. And I know that seems unfair to some, possibly wrong. I do agree that having to wait for justice, yeah. Yeah, I have to take a deep breath because it's very hard to do. We are not a patient society. but we need to think about the future. Think about the long-term effects. Realize your neighbor or your friend, the one who owns that small business that may have just finally been able to reopen, that is now destroyed, may not be able to rebuild. May have to just simply give up. And when that small business owner has to give up, many employees are also sacrificed. As I mentioned, it has appeared to me that many of the arrests in across the country of these rioters, of the violent rioters, are people who are not neighborhood people, who are not natives to that area. They're coming in from somewhere else, somewhere that they call home, that they want to keep safe. And they are coming to more urban areas, cities, to make those people who live in those cities look violent, evil, bad. And after they've started this, many of them run right back home. They run right back home after they have that initial spark. Their goal is to ruin someone else's neighborhood. Their goal is to make another group of people look bad. Some of them have been successful with this. Probably more than I can imagine. So if you're out there protesting peacefully, I applaud you. We should be protesting this. What happened was atrocious. And sadly, too common in this country. So when you're out there protesting peacefully, and someone goes and literally sparks this anger and this violence, resist it. I know it's hard. We are all stressed. We are all fed up with the world in general right now, for the most part. We've taken all we can take. And it doesn't take that much to set us off right now. But we have to resist that. We have to resist that. Just like we have to resist the violence and the murdering. The word is resist. not revenge. So please continue to resist peacefully. Go, do what you can. I've often said that I have two rules. Do not intentionally hurt or harm anybody. That's my first rule. I realize I fail. We all fail. But do not intentionally hurt or harm someone. My second rule, be happy. Enjoy your life. The catch to that is rule number one, don't intentionally harm or hurt someone or some group. I guess that's really all I have to say. I just hope that people start to think about the future more. Not only their own future, but the futures of others. The futures of the children. And I know that's always said, but it's always true. So that's why it's always said. So if you're going out there and you're thinking about being violent or rioting, think, how is this going to affect the next generation? How are they going to be viewed? Will my actions help them or hurt them in the long term? Be angry. Be angry about what happened. But you do not have to be violent.